Episode 243 of The Past is here. What's going on? What's good? I'm your host, BT. Not going to really do a major plug or a major announcement of any sort. I'm just going to kind of talk about the simple, core to the point thoughts. This week is, I was about to say this month, but this week is Nurse Appreciation Week as well as Teacher Appreciation Week. And I am going to do something a little different today. I am not going to lie to you. The content, the stories, the articles, there are a lot of things that have happened. I could go into an ads of the week that still is mind boggling as far as someone doing what they did, but I'm just going to make note or mention of how much I value those who have been in my corner when I haven't been in my own corner. As far as the nurse flow goes, I've got nothing but good friends around me that have been nurses or are in the nursing field, and it's humbled me to understand a lot of nurse talk. As I've talked about before, twin talk, no exception. Fred has been like the nurse confider of like I've talked to her about God knows how many different stories and situations that have occurred in the medical field. Um, and she was on the show before. Jamila has been, she's been in the scene in the game for quite some time as well. And their triplet, as you could call it, Tanisha, she's not here on the East Coast anymore, but nonetheless, she's been definitely doing a lot of. I've been seeing the moves. I've been seeing the entrepreneurship moves with nursing. I have people that I've personally grown up and gone to school with who are in nursing now, and all of them, all of your work or skills do not go unnoticed. I have a bestie who we haven't talked in a while, and I'll be accountable for it. It hasn't been as fluid or consistent of a conversation, but I know she's doing her thing. So as as the saying goes, give people their flowers and value what they've done or what they're doing while they're here. Um, so I'm just saying, those are those are from the nursing perspective. Now, in the teacher's perspective, I I say this all the time. I went to school with a lot of good friends who found teaching to be their niche and haven't looked back. I was kind of taken back by looking at one of the statuses that my my actual high school teacher or homeroom teacher posted about what's the one moment that stands out with her as a teacher. And she did give me a lot of insight and a lot of information as a kid, and I'll never disregard those things. But at that time, literally, I was known as, and it's kind of, I mean, I can say it now because it's not a big deal. I was the attendance person. So I rarely missed a lot of school growing up. It's kind of the same way with me with work. I think since I've had this job, I don't think I've called out, but I'm making my goal not to call out. I'll say that. I will, say in a lot of teachers that are here or are no longer here have been helpful to me getting to where I'm at now. And I mean, this year it will be 19 years since I graduated from high school. So that puts a lot into perspective. And then you add another 3 years on top of that, as far as with middle school teachers. Um, One of my first male teachers, Mr. Lewis, a lot of people who live in Richmond may know him, but he was a huge influence on me from a male perspective. Because I mean, I had the male perspective at home. I'm not gonna ignore that part, but I will say he really like was that sanity of understanding from a non, from the outside what was what. And I think that's always been my biggest thing is like different male influences in teaching or in a, in a work environment has been kind of that make or break. And I've talked about this off air, but I'll talk about it here really quick or really transparent. I didn't know the importance or realize the importance of the male influence until I like really got put in a position to just sit back and look at those men who have been close to me or I've been close to that have either listened to something that I had to say or I've listened to something that they've had to say, and it caused a generated worthwhile dialect or whatever the case may be. I'm looking, I'm just sitting here thinking back on it, and I had a unexpected occurrence over the weekend that is something that I'm not going to really get too into on the podcast, but I will say when life forces you to grow, you grow. And that's kind of been the recurring theme over the last few months, if not the past year, definitely. So I'm kind of, like I said, I really didn't want to get into a whole lot of like, okay, we're going to talk about these topics and this is what's going on. Cause basketball has kind of been cut and dry. Most teams, most of the series are tied up or it's, 3-1 as far as with Boston getting beat by, Milwaukee. I am doing a fun segment. So I'll give a brief sports, brief stuff, what do I want to put? A music session that I'm kind of getting to be new, and I'll give an ass of the week. I'm not going to give stories for any of this. It's just going to be kind of from the hip. And this will be one of those rare improv podcasts. So enjoy. Sports wise, as I've already mentioned, we are practically in our main stint or stretch with the playoffs kind of running its course. Paul Pierce looks kind of bad in his prediction with picking Boston to win the series, as they're down 3-1 right now. They win 3 straight, and Kyrie brings them back. It would be a huge, huge shocker. So there's that series. Houston was able to pick up 2 wins in their series, which is really helpful. And it's kind of been the story with that matchup. The other Eastern Conference matchup, Toronto and Philly, starting to get a little bit more interesting, depending on who you ask. And Portland and Denver, if that station still existed or if it was still a big thing, would definitely be an ESPN classic, like an instant classic. Haven't really been pushing too much with hockey. Hopping into tech really quickly. The Google I/O, and I wish I was able to watch it, but I'm not going to be able to this year, but I know it's going to probably be off the wall. But Google I/O is having their event. They're projected to talk about their new Google Pixel phone. They're going to talk about Google Home. They're supposed to be coming out with the Android Q, which is their newest operating system. And I believe they're doing a Google Home based device that's going to be like a touch screen, like a more enhanced touch screen from the one they already have. So those are the things that I did get from an article that I read about that. They've been leaking more information recently about the iOS, as far as iOS 13. Everyone's excited because there's a chance we could finally get the infamous dark mode, since Facebook has kind of proved that it's achievable. So there's that. Music, I'm going to say this, and it's only because it's just where I'm at and how I feel. I have caught some good music on some good moments, and it's a good feeling. I'll just put it like that. The Ari Lennox album dropped today. I actually got a little bit of a chance to listen to that, and I'm impressed by far. I've listened to some albums last year. I mean, not last year. This past Friday, but I really didn't get to hear anything that I was like, okay, this stuck out for me. But that doesn't mean that there isn't any good music that did drop. Um, Logic and Eminem have a single together. Shawn Mendes, I think I've kind of snippet listened to If I Can't Have You. A shocking album, but actually a pretty good album that I did get a chance to hear uh is called Voicemails, and it's by the artist Tink. It if you're not the ratchet listening fan, I wouldn't listen to it. But I am, as I tell people all the time, I don't have like a limit on my listening queue or what I do or don't listen to. I have been listening to Release Radar. I listened to that today, which the songs on there just kind of blew my mind because there's a song that I found called Roller Coaster. And all I can say is wow. Now, I think from looking at my list, it looked like it just updated from what I was already listening to, which is cool. I'm not going to, trip. But I did find a song. It is called Roller Coaster by Ivy Soul. Ivysole. If you want to check that song out, it came out last year. Now I did find, and I just thought about that. He just brought out the official single, Devon Terrell, his new single, Too Expensive. I'm feeling that song big time. And as I've been telling people all the time, Lo-fi is the wave. And I'll go ahead and bring this story a little bit of attention. Like I said, this week's podcast is improv. I'm not doing articles. I had articles and stories to talk about, but I'm just gonna kind of be chill and just kind of have a free flow show. One of the Lo-fi stations was the Lo-fi Study Station. And if you listen to a lot of them or see a lot of them on YouTube, they always have like a different animation. Well, the one that I'm going to talk about today has they called it was kind of almost referenced as Schoolgirl, where it's a girl who's sitting at her desk with her computer. She's writing out some stuff. And in the back, you can see her social media page kind of just running through different things that are coming up. Now, if anyone does or doesn't know about Lo-fi playlists, what they typically do is they'll have songs playing, and it's just a consistent loop back of whatever video it is. One that was kind of like my starter of watching these was another girl who was watching, who's just kind of has her headphones on with her cat in the background. They're playing with each other and stuff like that. Now, I'm going to give a Lo-fi backstory because I did tell someone this, and I didn't even know the extent of how I was listening to Lo-fi or how I got big into it. I happened to find a artist. I just kind of went through and looked for like calm playlists or calm music, and I found The Simpsons, and they kind of had The Simpsons in a non-Simpson like way where they look like they were stoning or kind of high or whatever, but they would have like these relaxed playlists, and I would listen to them and I'm like, okay, these are kind of cool, this is something new. And then I think not too long after that was when I kind of hopped on and got to the Lo-fi wave. But anyway, there's the most recent one, which was called Schoolgirl. If you look up Lo-fi Schoolgirl, you'll see the video, and if you look it up on YouTube or if you search for this article, they'll talk about it. So Vice did a story about how important it is with kids being in school, in college, to not feel stressed while in school. And they basically provided they gave you is a video of showing the schoolgirl in her normal routine, and they had some music playing. The music started to die down, and the schoolgirl kind of had a breakdown. And it was a breakdown so bad to the point that she somehow got a knife and was close to committing suicide. Now, luckily, she dropped the knife and got up and, was able to kind of balance out or release get her mind off of whatever she was working on. And they provide numbers for suicide prevention. I have it in the show notes, and I'm going to be accountable for this. I've been very trash and very horrible with doing a lot of the social promos for all of the links because there's so many, and I know that alone takes up like 10 minutes in itself. But if you do have a moment, definitely go through and look at those links, because I do have a link regarding suicide prevention. But I do want you to check this page out too, as far as learning the severity of suicide prevention with being in school or attending college or even at work. Like, it's important to utilize the resources that are around you to get the help you need. And I've even seen people where it's been addressed to folks will come out and say, well, I'm doing these things and I'm doing what I can to get help, and I still don't feel like I'm getting the help I deserve. And that's understandable. It may not be, you may not be in the space or at the point of wanting the help that's being provided. And that happens too. But to kind of close the schoolgirl Lofi, what the schoolgirl page did was they had it so that the schoolgirl wasn't in the video, but it was still playing the music. She just came back, I believe, either over the weekend, but they initially did not have her on the page, kind of as a tribute to just say, hey, if you need to take a break and you need to, relax on studying, it's okay. So I really liked and enjoyed that promotion or that message. Now to our ass of the week. And like I said, this week is a bit of a paraphrasing podcast. So I'm going to paraphrase this story. I'm not going to share a link. If you want to look it up on your own time, you're welcome to do so. But basically, a person decided they were a little hungry at night. And anyone who owns Apple AirPods knows that they're very convenient. And the big convenience behind having AirPods is if you lay down and you're wearing them, you can pretty much wear them while you're sleeping. Just gonna kind of put you there first. And so this, someone was at night, they had the AirPods in and they took one of them out and somehow swallowed it. Now, they were initially trying to look for the AirPod, but they couldn't find it. And so one of the features that anyone who has Apple devices knows about, called Find My Phone, also helps with finding your AirPods. With the AirPods, and mine aren't near me right this second, but you could actually have the AirPod earbud itself make a sound to kind of see if, track where it is. Crazy story, and I think I told y'all this before. First bought my AirPods. Worst thing I could have happen to me happened, which was I lost the case. Luckily, I didn't lose the case literally, but I had misplaced and couldn't find where the case exactly was. But I was able to find it, so that worked out good and everything was fine. But anyway, this person, they were doing Find My AirPod, and the AirPod started making sounds, but it was in their stomach or in their esophagus or whatever. So what they ended up doing was they had this person take a laxative so that the AirPod could be released from their butt, so they could shit it out, basically. This becomes ass of the week for a couple reasons. One, you literally had to shit out an AirPod. Two, the fact that you ate an AirPod says a lot. Like, that means your snack game is not on par. And I mean, something of that magnitude, you would feel that as you attempt to try to swallow it. The third part of it that makes it even more interesting as being ass of the week is after the laxatives were provided, it was able to come out. The person cleaned off the AirPod, got it really clean somehow, and put it back in their ear to use it, and it still worked. Now, I'm gonna be honest. I can afford to just get another earbud. I know that's like a tech moment of weirdness for me because it's the cost, but I'd rather just do that than to sit and try to. Yeah, that's just way too much bacteria, medical mindset, just thinking a little differently. Um, so yeah, that's my ass of the week. And like I said, as I've already mentioned, if you see a nurse or if you see a teacher, tell them thank you, uh, because a lot of times nurses are able to stabilize the process in ways that other people may not. And as far as with teachers, teachers wear more hats than just being teachers. And I don't think people know or realize the extent of that sometimes. And I'll just leave you with that. So that's all I have for today. Thank you all for tuning in. If you have not done so, definitely leave a review. If the show sounds a little different, not using the Blue Yeti, just going with the default mic. Sometimes you got to make, well, I'm not even going to say the default mic. I have my headphones, but I have a mic that's built into the headphone that I'm using today. So if it sounds a little different, that's the reason why. But with all that being said, y'all have a good one. Take it easy. The Paz signing out. Peace.